Tonight on the Super Important Show, the adorable story of a 5th grader who wants to be principal, the horrific story of dead bird drones, and the erotic story of a very happy iceberg. I'm one of your hosts, Justin Diodato, and joining me, as always, is my amazing co-host, Heather Jules Booth. Hello, Heather Jules Booth.
Did you say an erotic iceberg?
I did say an erotic iceberg.
Titanic, let's bring it on.
And tonight we're lucky enough to be joined by sketch comedian and improviser Slaney Rose Jordan. Hello, Slaney.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for having me. I could have been at the Met Gala, but I chose to be here tonight.
You know what?
I stayed in.
Thank you for sacrificing. We very much appreciate the sacrifice.
Yeah. Only for you. Hi, I'm a sketch comedian and improviser. If you're curious, in the city.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Guys,
thank you.
Do we want to just get right into it? Do we want to, Heather? Do you want to world you crazy us?
Let's do it. I love this story. This is a great story. Yeah, world you crazy. Okay. Today's story, aptly titled. I don't know why I said aptly titled. It's a correct story. 5th grader applies to be principal of Chief Joseph Elementary. It's been a long day. All right. In Great Falls, Montana, a student named Ruth Rossmiller, which when you give her that name, of course she's going to want to be a principal. You have already aged this poor child. I'm just going to go ahead and say, not her fault. She's wonderful and adorable. But she can be described as a funny, spunky go-getter. And she applied to be the principal at Chief Joseph Elementary School. She says the impossible is possible if you just try it for sure. If you just try for it for sure. I like that. She's right. Why say no to anything? So she found out that the school's current principal was going to be leaving. So she took the time to fill out the 10-page application, as it notes in this story, with her mom, including a cover letter that could rival any adult resume with her mom. After she applied, she got a phone call and they wanted her to know that the HR office and the executive director screened the application and were very impressed. So they told her, and I love that they gave her the most corporate answer ever. They said, we're interviewing for the adult candidates on April 12th, and then we're also going to interview the 5th grader. They said that they asked her questions, the same questions they would have asked some of the adult candidates, such as how would you resolve conflict between students and teachers? What would you do to problem solve if a substitute teacher didn't show up? And what's the very first thing that you do as principal? To which she answered, probably the donations for the food bags that they give to the students. Let's add more things and change some stuff. And they said that they asked her, what stuff? And she said, well, putting more food in the bag, like more help around the school. And I'm just like, okay, at this point, we should probably just hire this child. She's great. She also wants to implement a Taco Tuesday and have tacos every Tuesday as a lunch option. And my favorite part at the end of the story is that it says, while they didn't offer her the full-time position, they're offering her the chance to be principal for a day on April 24th. Which, I guess already happened. I wonder how it went.
Oh, I'm sure she killed it.
I think so too.
I have the picture of the little girl if you want to see her adorableness.
Let's see it. She's very sweet.
Sweet. Love the green glasses.
Cute, very sweet. I agree. I love her glasses. They're very stylish.
Yeah, and we also have a picture of her from the interview.
Yeah,
where she's being super corporate and very professional.
She's like, "Thank you for choosing to interview me."
Yeah. This feels...
I wonder what her salary ask was.
I mean, probably
standard,
$100.
Probably just free tacos on Taco Tuesday.
Free tacos. She's like, I would like Taco Tuesday. I would like my tacos to be free, please.
I know when I read that in the article, it said Taco Tuesday as a permanent lunch option. And in my mind, I was like, oh, that means Taco Tuesday every day. If it's like a permanent lunch option.
I also like that.
Right? Like then it's just taco every day.
All the tacos all the time. Which I think is great.
it's fresh and healthy and better than what I had at lunch.
Oh, same. Same. Yeah.
I felt like we needed a wholesome story.
Pizza.
Sorry.
Like just a nice wholesome story. I agree, Dustin. I think this is a really nice story. I also love that you titled it I Would Watch That Movie, because I agree. I would 100% watch a movie of a fifth grader that took but the movie has to be that the fifth grader actually becomes principal.
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like that's the movie I want to see. Yeah.
Yeah, like Principal for a Day is like baby's day off, and it's just like all the things that she.
So if you actually have her become principal, how great would that be? And then it's like, you've got all the adults who are just like, it'll never work. How could that happen? It will never. And then they're like, all of a sudden she starts solving these problems, and it's great.
Yeah. But she doesn't do it alone. Her best friend's by her side.
Yes, absolutely.
We should 100% option this we should reach out to this girl and make this movie. Let's all write it together. I'm very excited about this. I know we're doing as soon as this is done.
I like it.
Or at least a TikTok series if we're talking fifth grade lingo.
Sure.
But I just also want to say, like, we can laugh all we want, which we're not even really laughing at this because it's a sweet story. But like, I also really love that, like, this girl's already being taught to like go after something that she wants, and like she was being encouraged, as opposed to like, so often, like, especially with kids are like, oh, I'd like to do a thing, and you can have like adults that are like, no, you shouldn't do that, or you're never going to do that. And like, I just really like that she was encouraged to do this. So props to her family as well for encouraging her, and props to the other adults for not like making fun of her and for being like, yeah, we'll interview you. Sure.
They taught her some good skills.
They did.
Some good
not
practical...
being to ask for things, especially as a girl. Really smart.
And having like a real job interview.
Also, you know what, Slaney? That's true. And like how to do a job interview.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. They brought everybody in. I mean, I guess they also brought a photographer in so that they could, whatever. But like,
PR baby.
Yeah.
Look, they're doing their job, finding a new principal. I wonder what happened to the principal that made this fifth grader be like, look, that principal was shit. I could do this job in my sleep.
She's like, you know what? I can do better than this principal. That's great. I wonder.
Awesome.
Right? A job so hard a fifth grader could do it.
I mean, I think it is worth just trying to see like what would happen. I appreciate Tobin's comment of even the
mean girl.
Yeah, of course.
Would help. Yeah, of course. That's the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to see this movie a lot.
I do too. It's a good movie. It's a feel good movie.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll admit the stories for today balance themselves in a weird way, because our next couple of stories are as adorable as this story is. Are the opposite of this.
Landscape.
Yes.
Oh boy.
We sucked everybody in with the adorable story of the little girl who would be principal, and then. Are we ready to move on to story number 2?
I think we're ready to move on. I hope this little girl's not watching based on what you just said now.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. Oh
no. What have you done, Dustin?
I didn't do anything bad.
She may have had something to do with this next one, because it does feel like an arts and crafts project that a fifth grader would be doing. Like, I feel like in my childhood I would have done this, which is scientists in New Mexico have turned taxidermy birds into drones.
Yes.
So like the skin or feathers of birds and full face onto drones.
That's horrifying.
My first thought was my friend's dad would have loved something like this. He was a taxidermist, and growing up, it was kind of a nightmare. Their garage was very spooky and scary, but he lives in Florida now. So, people there already think all the birds are already drones. So, he probably wouldn't partake in it nowadays. But
so they're part of the
Reuters art.
Are they part of the Birds Aren't Real group?
Yeah, I think mostly that stems from Florida, right?
Yeah, it must.
I mean, the birds there are crazy.
Let me give you some of the video underneath while we're.
Oh no! Do we want to see the video? I'm gonna have nightmares, aren't I?
Oh yes.
Probably.
So the Reuters article headline said, "Dead birds get new
Oh,
life."
this is awful. No.
Yeah, New Mexico
no.
develops taxidermy bird drones. It's like,
No.
you know, I hope that if I die like a bird from pollution or getting hit by a car, that I would also have the second chance at a life as a drone. Like, could you imagine? I mean, bird drones.
No.
Like, why stop there? I mean, it's like, you know how the NYPD recently purchased a robotic dog unit?
Mm-hmm. What?
Like, why don't they throw the remains of like a German Shepherd or something on one of those?
Wait, so they purchased. I'm both distracted by this.
I'm putting in another
horrifying
story. I know.
No, it's okay. This is
the video.
Like sad
I know it's
and horrifying.
Well, so they're trying to. Okay, so Dr. Mustafa Hassanalian. Sorry, my pronunciation was bad. He's the chief medical engineering professor that's leading the project, and he said that if we learn how these birds manage their energy between themselves, then we can apply that into future aviation industry to save more energy and save more fuel.
What?
I know. I'm like, it's still a drone. Like,
they're dead birds. What energy? What fuel?
I know exactly. It's like battery powered. Like,
study the live birds. What?
Well, I mean, because drafting, you know, like in aerial flight, it seems to be the most efficient aviation hack that we have, but it's nothing new. Like, I mean, even today it was really windy and I was biking and a guy was drafting off me in the bike lane, and I tried to go around a car and didn't know that he was there, and he almost hit my back tire. He was that close. But I mean, I didn't fault him for it because it is a good move. You save a lot of energy, like drafting people. But like, if it's moving, we wouldn't want to, like, if they're doing flock study of flight, like, I wouldn't want to encourage planes to fly in a flock. I mean, except for jet fighters, they do that. They draft and stuff to save fuel. But yeah, I was just thinking, what could they possibly learn? It just felt like it was a lot of, they're just doing a hype story. Like, they're just trying to make this drone seem legit by just putting feathers and skin and what are we skin on it.
What are we going to translate this into technology of like airplanes that broke and we're going to like glue feathers on them and be like, well, worked with these birds, so let's use these broken airplane drones.
I mean, truthfully, like,
Dustin, don't tell me you're investing in broken airplanes covered in feathers.
I mean, a little bit. No. A little bit. Okay, because here's the thing. That somebody said, it completely not related to this, but in the last couple of days, they mentioned that like bird watching is super fun because there are birds everywhere. So there's always like a bird to be watching, right? So if you want to spy on other places, you want to spy on other governments, you want to spy on wherever, then like if you throw a drone at this situation, like one of the ones that we have now with the little, whatever kind of things, with the little spinny things, then people are going to be like, hey, that's a drone. We should stop talking. But if like a bird just sort of like hops up right by where you are, you're not going to stop talking. You're going to be like, hey, check out that bird. That bird's adorable.
Like that, but look at nightmare.
Right.
If it's that nightmare, I'm stop talking because I'm going to be like, that's a spy.
Now.
Also, when you put this up on the screen, I want to point out that the second this drone went up on the screen, Rufus came up and was like, can I see that?
Right.
It had a good flutter. Yeah, it's a very rapid flutter. Like, birds don't fly like that.
Right.
No. I mean, except to take off, but then they coast. Like, what? It's still going.
But guys, it's week 1. Like, this is how we start. Right. Like,
nothing good comes from this.
Oh God, yeah.
Nothing good comes from that. Absolutely nothing good comes from that. Okay. That is horrifying.
They did say that it helps also determine that there's like a big so Brendan Herkenoff, a PhD student at New Mexico Tech, says that flight efficiency has more to do with color than we think, which is true for fuel efficiency. And I've known like black versus white paint is actually lighter, right? And so like they use white paint on planes because it dark paint like will add the weight of like 8 passengers. to the plane,
What?
just from just because of the tincture in the paint.
See, I feel like this backs up the whole
But
thing.
these are right, but these are feathers that are like, I mean, they're gonna weigh the same either way, right? I mean, I'm assuming. I just don't know what sort of efficiency the color of a drone would have.
I mean, I think the
Oh, I
amount
guess
of
weight.
the amount of
The
heat,
weight.
yeah,
Yeah.
the amount of heat it would absorb and all that, I would imagine would
Yeah.
have an impact on it. I'm just saying, I feel like eventually they're going to figure out how like a bird just does fly and be able to recreate it in a drone, and then all the people who say birds aren't real are going to be right because they're going to turn all the birds into drones that are going to spy on everybody. And I know that that's bad, but it's good if we're spying on other people. But probably people will spy on us too. So. But also,
Right?
like,
Well, it will teach us. That'll teach us. We don't feed the birds.
right? Or
We
maybe,
gotta stay away.
or maybe that'll be the trick that, like, if you try and feed the birds and they don't eat it, then they're robots. That'll be like how we know
Yes.
which are real birds and which aren't.
I mean, that's how we learn when we become the drones. You know, when they use our skin suits as drones, if we offer someone a baguette, they're not taking it. Definitely not a human.
Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
good
unless
point.
they have celiac or something.
That's an excellent way to find out. Everybody loves bread, no matter who they are. Cool. Do we want
Unless they're
to
gluten intolerant.
move on to our third story?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so the third story is my story. I'm going to admit there's not a lot to this story, but all of the coincidences that came into play to allow for this story to exist required that I told the story.
Yeah.
There is a town in Newfoundland called Dildo. And I don't know why you name your town Dildo, but sometimes you name your town Dildo. And when you're in the town of Dildo, and you're looking at icebergs, because there are a bunch of icebergs near Newfoundland, sometimes they're going to get called out because they look an awful lot like something. So this is the iceberg that showed up in the town of Dildo, outside of the town of Dildo. Technically,
Come on, that's not real.
it is real.
No,
it
that's
is.
not real.
It is.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Now, technically, obviously, Dildo is a town. So this isn't in the town of Dildo. It's in the bay right outside the town of Dildo, which is known as
In the rear.
it's known,
part.
yeah, it's in Conception.
Got it.
This giant penis iceberg is in Conception Bay, just outside of Dildo. So it got posted online, went
This is not
viral
real.
very quickly. It is. They have multiple angles of it. I only have one, but there are
that's-
multiple angles of it.
That's
And if you're sitting here, but okay, Heather, here is the problem though. If you are sitting here thinking, okay, I really love this penis iceberg, and I want to go see this penis iceberg, which a lot of people did. The problem was shortly after all of this happened, they got out there and the tip fell
hear
off.
shit.
No, it didn't. Yeah, the tip of the penis fell off. So now it's sort of just like
Emphasis on the shortly.
Yes. So you cannot go visit this penis iceberg just outside of Dildo in Conception Bay. It was just there were too many things.
It's poetry. I mean, it's it should be the eighth wonder of the world.
We should have captured it and at least frozen it so that we would have it forever. But
Frozen.
how do
it?
you capture that? I would love to explain. Wait, what's the science? How does one capture a penis ice sculpture?
well,
Do you lasso it? What?
Wait, how do
No.
we save the icebergs?
yeah, you have to cradle it in some kind of way because if you
Excuse me?
if you
I know
lassoed it,
some kind of way.
if you lassoed it, you're gonna rip it. But you gotta be gentle so that you don't break it. But then also keep it.
You gotta don't forget the balls. You gotta cup the balls.
Right.
Cradle the whole thing.
Yes. So I
This
just
is ridiculous.
I just
I
felt
thought
like
you were going to say it like flopped. It flopped back up. So, it got floppy.
Have they proven this
It
is
went back into the water?
Wait, so this is, and I apologize because I got a little distracted right at the beginning of this story.
Mm-hmm.
Is this man-made?
No, it is naturally formed.
Bullshit. Bullshit. Someone in the middle of the night ice sculpted this. There is no way that's man-made.
I mean,
the way that it collapses, it could have, it could have been like at one point a triangle.
It just got old.
It shedded its skin, and there's a drone in there.
Bird. It's just a bird drone in a disguise. No.
I apologize for not having the other angles of the penis.
You should. I mean, we asked for dick pics, not just a singular.
It's true.
Or ice pics.
But we can use our imagination, I guess.
I mean, feel free to Google penis iceberg. I mean, don't.
No, I think I'm good. I don't think I need to Google that. I don't think good things happen when you Google that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the color of it, though. It's beautiful.
It is.
It's definitely blue.
Do you think it belongs to the guys in Easter Island? They're like going for a dip. On the other side of the world.
It's appropriate in size. Admittedly, there's not a whole lot more to this story. It's just a story that needed to be shared.
What more do you need?
Right. Yeah. A giant penis berg is all you need.
Just so many Titanic jokes. There's just so many.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Never let go, Jack.
Yep. It's man's hubris. They said that the Titanic might have been hinting at size of certain things. That's the kind of iceberg that took it down.
You did ask why a town would be named Dildo, and I was thinking maybe it was named Dildo before dildos existed, and the dildo was actually invented in Dildo. But that's just me speculating.
Right. I mean,
what is the town?
Or what does dildo mean? Maybe dildo
or like
means
what
more
does the
like
town look like?
Experience.
Is the town like shaped like one? Is that why it?
Probably.
I highly doubt they would name their town after a dildo, right? It's
no, but what if dildos
centuries.
named themselves after the town?
Oh, right. And not just dick.
Things I don't want to Google.
Yeah.
Or 300.
Yeah, if anybody in chat wants to throw out an answer.
Slaney's like, on the other hand, I will Google it.
Anyway.
Anyway.
See if I can.
While you're Googling that, take a moment to like and subscribe, because it helps us a ton to let people know that you're enjoying the content, and it lets you know when new content is being posted.
Hear more about ice dildos.
Right. Who else is telling you about ice dildos? Nobody. We are the number one source of people telling you about it, other than the article that we read. So just know.
Number one. That's our pull quote right there.
Yes.
That's it.
Before we move on to what the fact, last week we forgot to do honorable mention stories. This week I have 4 honorable mention stories. I prefaced this first story by I'm sorry, because Heather, you're gonna be upset by this first story, but it's so ridiculous that I had to put it up. So I'm apologizing beforehand.
All right. Preface this.
Yeah. Our first story is New Zealand feral cat killing competition for children axed after backlash.
I have heard about this, actually. It's very upsetting. Yes, I have. It's very upsetting. It's exactly what that headline suggests.
Why specifically for children?
Because, bad ideas.
Fun little game for them to play.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Fun little game.
They learn hunting techniques.
It's supposed to be
how to live
because
off the land.
That's how you get rid of the population of feral cats, rather than just, spaying and neutering. All those other things.
Oh, right.
Rufus has come up to protest.
Yeah, so we'll move on because clearly Rufus
he's not happy.
He's very upset about this.
Is Rufus a rescue?
He is a rescue, so he has thoughts about this.
Yeah,
he gets it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our next story is Japanese cafe waitress fired for mixing her blood into cocktails.
Oh no!
My God.
I did not get
Angelina
deep.
Jolie? Was she working over in Japan?
Was it like extreme cocktails, or was she just like,
No, she thought it would be a good idea.
this needs a little so
Yeah.
okay, she was just like, this needs a little extra touch.
Yeah.
Some
So
iron?
I didn't get too deep into the details of this one, but just be careful, I guess, when you go to Japan about blood in your drinks.
You're like, what's that metallic taste?
Yeah.
They're like, you look a little pale.
Yeah.
You feeling okay? She's like, it's been everybody loves my drinks. I can't
Don't
keep
buy
up.
any drinks that are called like FE anything.
Yeah.
No, just don't buy them. That's your warning.
Or be positive.
They're like, it's a happy drink.
Our next story, I just put this one in because, okay, so Texas man claims ghost pushed shopping cart into car, causing damage. And it was like, did this guy not know about wind? Was this guy unaware of the concept of wind and just thought like, ghosts are moving things around? Look at those ghosts blowing leaves all over the place. Goddamn ghosts.
How dare they?
And who's he going to sue? I mean, who's he claiming this against? The police?
The family of the dead ghost.
Right, you have to figure out who died in the general area that's haunting it, and then
like,
backtrack.
Can I see your ID, please?
Ghost.
It's like a Beetlejuice moment when they're sitting in the DMV or whatever.
And then our final honorable mention story is new research shows sexual arousal leads to a greater willingness to get intimate with robots.
You think?
Yeah. So basically, the story is when people get hornier, they're willing to have sex with more things. Probably yes.
Yeah. Did Dildo Newfoundland put this one out?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, it was a joint story between them and Regina, which is a story from a few weeks ago. The wonderful town of Regina.
Experience them.
So,
you know what I hate about that story? You know what I still hate about that story?
Regina?
That we played that jingle, and I can still hear it in my head. I can hear that jingle in my head. Experience Regina. Experience Regina. Yep, that's a real thing. That's real. Slaney, you Google that later. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It's that quality too.
I'll experience Regina in Dildo Newfoundland. You know what I'm saying? I keep saying Newfoundland like I'm reading it like off the. It's Newfoundland. Oh, by the way, I did find a few other names from the same explorers that named it Dildo, but they didn't actually give the reason why it's called Dildo.
Okay,
but to give you a peek into the explorer's mind,
please.
He named a spot Tickle Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Cuckold's Cove and Witless Bay.
What year?
Blow Me Down was named after they sailed through sea squalls. It was very and a hand injury led to the naming of Unfortunate Point, which would also maybe that's a dildo.
We had
So what we're saying is a troll named all of these towns.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Definitely
all right.
a Canadian
Hats off
troll.
to this troll.
Yeah, we got to do a follow up on this one. I feel like this needs more research.
I kind of want to hear more. Yeah.
Awesome. That brings us to What the Fact. So, for those of you who have not seen What the Fact before, I will ask a series of questions that people probably will not know the answers to, and you guys will try and guess. Chat, feel free to help everybody out and try and guess on yourselves. We got some fun ones today. So let's get right into it. Until 1914, you could send what through the mail just by putting a stamp on it. And Slaney, just so you know, I'm coming to you first.
Okay.
Was it loose snakes? Could you just throw a stamp on a snake and send it in the mail? Could you send your children through the mail by putting a stamp on them? Or could you send a full Zeppelin through the mail if you just put a stamp on it?
I recall hearing that children were in fact shipped that way.
Okay.
But maybe that's too out there. I mean, I remember you could ship like anything with just putting enough stamping on it.
So you're gonna go with B.
I'm going children, because who would want to do loose snakes? That seems a little out of anyone's control, really.
I mean, how else do you want to get loose snakes somewhere?
Yeah, loose snakes. That would be asking a lot. I think children, definitely. And for some reason, I feel like in my mind, I can see a picture of a child with a stamp on its head, but maybe that's just from some, I don't know. I feel like it was in a Ken Burns documentary.
Okay. All right. So you're going to go with B.
Yeah.
Heather, do you have a...
Topping is also going with children. Topping in the chat is going with children.
Okay.
Excuse me. I know that we've had a history of treating children pretty badly, but I don't think it's children. I think it might be Zeppelins.
Okay.
And maybe the idea was like you put a stamp on it and it could fly through the air. Right?
Okay.
I don't think it's snakes. I also don't think it's snakes.
Were Zeppelins around before 1914? Oh, yes.
I think so. Or it could be knowing you, Dustin. This is one of those all of the aboves, because the mail was like, you put a stamp on it, we'll mail it.
I will tell you.
I don't know why my 1914 post people sound like that, but
I will tell you it's not at all of the above. So,
all right. I'm gonna stick with C then.
You're gonna stick with C. Okay.
Yeah.
The actual answer is in fact Slaney, you got it. It is in fact children.
Oh my God.
Technically the way that it worked was you could mail anything that was under 50 pounds. So if your child was under 50 pounds, because they didn't have a regulation that said that you couldn't mail children, you could mail children, and they mailed.
What did you do? Put a stamp on them and just like. Oh God.
Yeah. Because a lot of times initially mail went a short distance. So sometimes you would just be mailing your kid like a couple of miles. There was one child.
And you knew your mailman.
Yeah. There was one child that was mailed like 430 miles. Was the farthest that a child was mailed. And
Poor
basically
kid.
they just.
Did they mail them to other relatives, or were they just like, I'm tired of you? Stamp, go in the mail.
It was always, I think the 431 was to their grandparents. So it was, so that.
But they were sent with rations, or like, did that carry into the weight? They had to be under 50 pounds total.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that the mail people had to feed them. I don't know that. Again, this is another one that requires some following up.
They just got lighter and lighter as they went on the journey. It made it easier for the mail guys. They were happy about it.
So it's a shame now that we cannot mail children anymore.
Look at this Topping.
I'm pretty sure you can still
I feel like Topping's
mail
giving
everything.
us history.
Yes.
Topping says it would be cheaper to mail them on a train instead of full fare on a train, I'll bet.
That was the argument. Yes, that's why people did it.
Wow.
Right. So they sit in freight cars.
So they would like send them in freight. So this is also not like, you're grabbing a child and sticking it in a mailbox, which I guess I realize is not what happened. But in my brain, I was just picturing like a small child with a stamp and they were just throwing it in a mailbox.
Yeah, no, you were giving it to a person with an understanding.
All right.
That it was
and
going
they probably earned their keep, maybe.
Of course.
They assisted.
Of course. Of course they did. It's like, oh, there's a child here. Let's put him to work.
Right. I'm sure they were shoveling coal.
These letters. Yeah.
Okay. So question number 2. This one is just more interesting than funny, but we'll go with it anyway. A jiffy is an actual measurement of time. I don't know if people knew that. How long is a jiffy? And somebody says they'll be there in a jiffy. Is it 5 seconds? Is it 1/50th of a second? Or is it 15 minutes? That way you can be accurate next time you tell somebody you'll be there in a jiffy. Heather, I'll come to you first.
I don't know the answer to this, but I did know that a jiffy was a measurement of time. I just don't remember what the amount is. But I know that I heard this as like a random trivia somewhere once. I'm going to go with 15 minutes.
Okay.
Just because B sounds too fast.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be A. It could be A. But I'm going to go with 15 minutes because I feel like anything, I don't know, 5 seconds is so short. What can you do in a jiffy?
Okay. You don't think 5 seconds merits its own, like, name?
I mean, I think 15 minutes is pretty short, so I think it merits a name.
Okay. All right.
It's like 15 minutes. Probably when you would be saying this in the old-timey times, when you'd be saying Jiffy, because I'm assuming you were saying this in the old-timey times.
I say it today.
There you go. But I feel like
Hopefully
it means something like that. And that's also a good point. I will be Googling that later.
Yeah.
15.
But
I'm going to go
I feel
I'm going
like-
with C.
Oh, you're
I'm
going
going
with
with
C.
C.
yeah.
Slaney, what about you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say 15 because like I do say, okay, I'll be there in a jiffy, and I mean longer than 5 seconds for sure.
Okay.
And also I wonder if maybe it gets its like a canister of Jif peanut butter you can finish in 15 minutes. They've like actually timed it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally do that.
15 minutes.
Yeah, I can
How
house
fast
that
are you
shit
eating that peanut butter?
pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
It's
Jif
so
is like
chewy.
smooth, baby. Oh no, that stuff
still,
melts.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't carry on a conversation while doing it, but I got house it.
No.
I got house it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so you guys are both going 15 minutes. Topping is going with
Yeah.
B.
Yeah.
Slaney,
Wow.
it turns out when you were telling people you were going to be there in a jiffy, you were a liar because a jiffy is 1/50th of a second.
Wow.
Crap.
So next
Topping
time,
was right.
yeah, Topping was right. Topping's fucking all over it tonight.
It's like literally
What
a
is
snap.
1/50th of a second? That's not even a second. Like,
That's crazy.
Right, it's 1/50th of a second. It's a
that's.
Yeah.
yeah. So just be
It's
careful.
like the first thought, like it's the thought of a second.
Yep, exactly.
Like I'm already late. I'm already late saying I'll be there in a
Right.
jiffy.
Right.
Yeah.
By the time you said it, it was done.
You were already late.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're not there, you're not there.
So we're all liars.
Yep, we're all liars
We can't
there.
even say jiffy in a 50th of a second. Too many syllables.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very confounding word. Okay, so this last one, we'll see. The U.S. nuclear launch crew, the people in charge of if somebody actually like puts in the codes in charge of actually launching a nuclear strike, says their unofficial motto is what? And Slaney, just so you know, I'm coming to you first.
Okay.
Is it mistakes are bad? Is it death wears bunny slippers? Or is it don't bomb before I had my coffee? Which one of these
The
is...
US sucks. The US sucks. You know what's funny? Oh my god, it sounds like there's a nuclear alarm going off. It's a rain.
And I have had my coffee, so.
It became relevant
Right,
quickly.
it's actually, you know what? I wonder, okay, now I'm just connecting the dots between James Cameron and this because in Avatar, the sky people are obsessed with coffee. Like that's the whole culture. When they're there, they're like constantly drinking coffee, especially when they're like making choices to kill people. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was don't bomb before I had my coffee. Because mistakes, they are bad. Everybody knows it. It's not really a motto.
But I mean, if you
bunny slippers might be I don't know what an anagram or whatever.
I mean,
I don't know.
although I do feel as though if the nuclear missile crew makes a mistake, it's bad.
It's bad.
Yeah. But so which one did you're going to go with C?
I'm going with C just because of the Avatar connection in my brain.
Okay. All right.
James Cameron's a smart guy. I wouldn't be surprised. He's literally a genius. So
Okay. Heather, what about you?
I'm torn now because I was firmly going to pick B because that seems like some silly motto that some guy one day showed up and was like, wouldn't it be funny if when we have to set this off, we got a pair of bunny slippers and then we just use the bunny slip. Yeah, death wears bunny slippers. But I really like Slaney. You're really selling me on C. That makes a lot of sense. Topping is saying she fears it's all three. I don't think it's all three. I'm gonna stick with my. As much as I love Slaney, you almost win me over here, and I won't be surprised if it's wrong. Right, rather, but I'm gonna go with B.
You're gonna go with B. You're gonna go with
Yes, but I won't be surprised if C is right.
You're gonna go with Topping, who's got the hot hand today.
Yeah.
So
you chose
Yeah.
your Halloween costume through this.
Yeah, exactly.
The actual answer, and congratulations to Topping for going 3 for 3 on our question today, is Death Wears Bunny Slippers.
Does it stand for something?
No, it's because the crew that's actually responsible for it does very long shifts in a small room and usually doesn't do anything. So they try and get as comfortable as humanly possible because 99% of the time they're just sitting there, but they're sitting there for like 18 hours at a time.
Right, waiting for the world's worst call.
Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, so they're mostly like in pajamas and bunny slippers and stuff like that for the, but they know that if they ever get called, they're essentially going to be the person who is bombing somebody wearing bunny slippers.
Yep.
So
I think they're rubbing it in our face with that one.
That they don't do anything?
Yeah, Death Wears Bunny Slippers.
Yeah.
They're just living their life.
Yeah. So just know
their best life.
That there's somebody out there wearing silly clothing who can end civilization at any moment if they so chose to.
Love it. And it's real bunnies, right? It's actual taxidermied bunnies.
It's taxidermy grown bunny.
Yeah, that allows them to jump with the way a bunny would.
Yeah, right. It's drone slippers.
And they look as horrifying as the bird drones.
So funny. So that is our What the Facts for today. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you know not to say Jeffy anymore unless you mean it. And I guess you can't mail your children anymore, but you could have. And for the record, you could mail snakes, but you could not mail them loose. So
in a box.
Yeah. You had to have
it.
some sort of container for your snakes. You couldn't just
we got to have some rules,
Yeah.
Right. We can't put kids in cages, but we can put snakes in cages.
100%. I mean, you should.
That's America.
You 100%.
That was
should.
America pre-1914.
Yep. So that's our What the Facts for today, which brings us to our Would You Rathers. Heather, do you want to kick us off with our first Would You Rather?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. It is. Let's see. Would you rather, for 1 year, would you rather be the size of a phone or of a car? Dustin.
Oh.
What the hell does this mean?
I get it.
Yeah, your whole body transfers either to the size of a full car or it transfers to the size of a phone. And you have to live like that for a year.
But you're not the actual thing. I'm not actually a car. Like,
Correct.
I'm not a transformer.
Correct. You're just generally the scale of one of those things.
I don't think either of these things is useful.
Right, but it's a would you rather.
This is like a childhood fantasy for me. I know what I would be.
Well, so if you're the size of a phone, there's really nothing you can do because you're just teeny, teeny, tiny. Even if you're like one of those big phones, you're still tiny. So I guess I'm going to pick car because there's probably more you can do as a giant car-sized human. But I call shenanigans on this question because unless I can be a fucking transformer, what's the point? What's the point?
I mean, not all would you rathers are intended for you to gain from it. It's just a question of sometimes it's too bad situation.
But it could be so cool. Like, would you rather transform into a phone or transform into a car? And then I'm picking car.
Right, because you already have a phone. Sorry, Slaney, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I would want to be a phone because the size of a phone. I was a big fan of The Borrowers growing up and like all those kind of like Thumbelina type of stories and any sort of fairyland. So that would just be a dream. I would like live in a garden, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But I guess they're slightly smaller. They're like shorter than blades of grass. I would want to, I think being a phone would actually be the size of a phone might be convenient. You don't have to, you could hitch rides on travel. You could, like easily get around the planet in a way that you wouldn't be able to if you were like an oversized car.
Yep.
Or the size of an oversized thing. I think a smaller thing. I could hop a ride on a drone.
Mm-hmm. Scary bird one.
But I will say,
definitely that's Thumbelina.
Yeah.
But I will say that I think if you're the size of a car, at least like you could scare more people out of the way. So like maybe you get around faster, like I don't know.
See, I'm more
I
like a
conceptually
sneaker.
have problems with this question, Dustin. My brain can't handle this question.
But like, imagine living in New York City and being the size of a car. Would you be
I would
able to do
rather
it for a
I
year?
would rather be that because I could still like get through and like people would stay out of my way, I think. Whereas a car, New York is so a phone rather, New York is so busy and people are so like not paying attention. I feel like someone
you'd
would
get
step on
stepped
me
on?
really fast. Yes.
But you'd have to walk
You could
everywhere.
hitch a ride. Yeah. That would suck.
Yeah. No, I'm still going with car.
Still going with car? Okay.
Yeah. All right, Dustin,
So
what
that
are you
you
going
could take a ride in a car?
Yeah.
Something I don't really know. As I said, conceptually, I can't handle this question. So
Yeah,
Dustin,
I don't think I've seen a question break you like this one has.
yeah, well, to mark this day, Monday,
Yeah.
May 1st, May
It's
Day.
Ooh, it kind of
May
works.
Day.
It kinda works.
I'm just saying.
Well, that should have been the new
Yeah.
codes.
I mailed out the rundown yesterday. I'm just saying. You
You had time to think about it.
Yeah, you could have overridden. I'm gonna go with
No, it's not a bad question. It's just a ridiculous question. There's two different types.
I'm gonna go with phone for a couple reasons. One, because I don't want, because Slaney makes an excellent argument that it's so much easier to get around with being the size of a phone. Well, you can just hitch a ride with other people. You can just like hop in somebody's pocket and go wherever you want to go. So that's so much easier. I could still do my job because like all the buttons are small enough that I could still like hit them because I work from home
you just
anyway.
dance around on the keyboard.
Right. So I could do my job. It's just that the webcam would be closer to me and people would think that I was still normal size. And I would just have to like jump on the keyboard and hit buttons. And think about how much money you would save in food, because if you're the size of a car, then to maintain your size, you're eating like 100,000. It's like a sperm whale situation where you just like constantly have to be eating to like not die. So that's where I'm saying, like, I think like if I'm a phone, then it's just, okay, great. Give me a Dixie cup worth of food every day and I'm golden. So think about how much money I'm saving. I could just like, eat next to nothing and be good that way. So I feel like phone is both the cheaper way and easier way to get around, because I don't want to walk, especially because I live up in Washington Heights. So if I wanted to see anybody else, I have to walk like 100 blocks to get anywhere. And I know that like I'm the size of a car, so it'd be a little bit faster, but it felt like 40 blocks. I still wouldn't want to do it. So I'm gonna go with phone.
I think also, I mean, once you get to a certain size, I believe you are considered like it's a disability to like get around. Once you're like over like a giant, it's considered, harder or whatever by doctors and whatever. And I wonder if it's because of just general, especially in the city, like accessibility and stuff.
True.
For people of a certain size.
Right, but you couldn't even accessoride because you'd be the size of the accessoride coming. So you'd have to figure out something else because you're so big.
Yeah.
You'd have to get like a flatbed or something like that if you wanted to get a ride somewhere.
Yeah, or like one of those unicycles that like or like a scooter, motorized, like a couple motorized scooters.
Like under your feet.
Just like, yeah.
So they're like ice skates or like roller skates.
Yeah, like roller skates.
Okay.
Or blades, baby.
Brings us to question number 2. Slaney, that is your question.
Oh, yes. Would you rather be able to mute people around you or force them to be honest?
Who do you want to give
Dennis,
it to
what do you
first?
think? Dennis, what do you think?
Did you call me Dennis?
I'm sorry, Dustin. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Dennis did that.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Chat, just pretend you didn't hear that.
I'm a menace. You're not.
I would go with force people to be honest, because I could ignore people pretty well and I could put in headphones. But I feel like if I really wanted to like know something, I think like knowing the way people like truly feel about things makes me so much more happy than like shutting them up. Because then like you can both have confidence of like, oh, this person like is, you know, genuinely my friend and not doing whatever for whatever reason. Or also like this person is generally evil and I know that they're evil because they have to be honest with me. So I feel like I gain more from it. The only like my only reason for like being a little bit doubtful is because the honesty thing is more of a short-term gain. Because like there's only so many things that I want a person to be honest about, and then I'll kind of run out of them. Whereas if a person is super annoying, like I could just mute them like forever, and then I wouldn't have to worry about it. But I'm still gonna go with honest because I feel like I'd gain more from it overall, probably. Oh, but I'm very torn. It's like a 55-45 kind of situation. But I'm gonna go with honesty.
Yeah, like it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
And Heidi. And Heidi, go ahead.
I've gotten Heidi before. I've gotten that. I also was telling people I get Rebecca a lot, and I don't know why. Nothing. I don't know. I guess I look like a Rebecca to people. I'm not quite as evenly split as you are, Dustin, or like the same split as you, but I am kind of mixed on this. For the most part, I'm like 80% mute people because I get distracted easily by a lot of like things. And I feel like the ability to be able to just kind of mute would be so helpful. And like in a way that, because like I assume this kind of muting would be kind. It wouldn't be like rude muting where like you'd look at someone and go like mute. Like I'm imagining that it would just be like something's really loud and distracting and you just kind of like have an imaginary remote that just like goes and mutes them. And I think that would be more useful. I do like the notion of forcing people to be honest, not so much for like the deviousness of like, I want to know what people think, but just in terms of like when people are like backstabbing, when they're like bad people, it would be really useful to like find that out up top.
Yeah.
It's like new meeting a person, you meet a new person and right away, you know, like, oh, this is a bad person. That's helpful. Like rather than have to go through figuring it out on your own. So that's
you know
helpful.
Their intentions.
Yeah, you know their intentions. But I think ultimately I like the convenience of the muting people more. Because you could also mute people if they're saying shit that you're like, I really disagree with this. I don't want to hear this. This is nonsense. Mute them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I'm
gonna go
with
this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with mute, but I totally agree. Like it's a real split of like I could see virtues to both. Like I could see pros to both.
I didn't even think about the thought of like when you're out at a restaurant or like a loud bar and you could mute everybody but like your group.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wouldn't
that's
that be
so
great?
nice. Yes.
Yeah.
It would be really nice.
Yeah.
Or like in the subway or somewhere where you're just feeling overstimulated for sure. But I think I like to talk. I like to know honesty. I think, you know, I grew up with my motto of honesty is the best policy. You know, at a certain point, you know, you can kind of go away from that. But I think I don't like to force people to do anything. So I think that would be where I think maybe just the wording of it, but being able to like get people to be honest in a conversation would be, a great power. I wouldn't want it to be a forceful, you know what I mean? Like that seems like a mutant kind of like X-Men kind of superpower, which it could be bad, right?
You don't want it to be aggressive, but you like the idea of them telling you the truth.
Yeah, I want to know people's intentions through their honest responses, but I wouldn't want to force them to do it. So it is a 50-50.
Yeah, and also like you could like think that you really do want to know everyone's honest thoughts, and then like you'd find something out and you'd be like, well, I could have lived without knowing that. Yep. Like then you could start finding out stuff that you're just like, I really didn't need to know that. Because like even what if it's like not about you and it's like you learn people's truths about other things, like that they think about other people or just things that like then suddenly you're disappointed and you're like, wow, I really wish I didn't know that, you know, my friend thinks that about some. Yeah, I feel like there's more trouble and like bummer stuff that can come out of the people being honest.
But would you want to continue a friendship with someone that did come out with like their honest opinion on something that you didn't agree on. And
I think it's fine if I don't agree on. Yeah, I don't have to agree with my friends, but I don't want them to be bad people.
yeah, right.
I guess it always goes back to that notion. Yeah, it goes back to that notion of like, I don't want to be friends with bad people, but
Yeah.
there's room to disagree to an extent. If they're intolerant, that's different.
Yeah. I mean,
Throw them out in the trash, but
everybody is some version of bad people and good people, though. So like, there's always going to be something that a person's going to.
You're good. You're always somebody's bad person,
right?
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That brings us to our third and final question, and I never remember what the question is until I see it. It's mine because I haven't looked at the rundown in a while. Okay, this is a simple one.
Yeah, this is a great question.
So I'm going to come to you. Would you rather, if forced, for a year, we'll just say for a year, you have to live in the middle school that you went to, or live in an Arby's? I'm going to say like a truck stop Arby's, like a good old side of the highway kind of Arby's, or the exact middle school that you went to, assuming that middle school is still fully operational. There are kids in it every day. You get your own bathroom.
It doesn't have an Arby's.
And it doesn't have an Arby's, yeah. But I will give you that you have your own bathroom. So you don't have to share a bathroom with other middle schools. I'm going to give that conceit. But Slaney, which would you pick?
I would definitely live in the middle school for sure. More variety, and I feel like a giant in middle schools. So actually, yeah, I guess that would make things awkward. Like all the chairs would be a size too small, but it would be better than like an active Arby's. Like if it was my own Arby's, I would probably want to, if it was like unlimited Arby's, sure. There's one sandwich that I'll eat off that menu. And actually nowadays I probably wouldn't. But when I did go the 1 or 2 times I've gone to Arby's, although their curly fries are so good.
Very good.
But anyway, you could get those in middle school, in the cafeteria. Okay. So I think, I live in middle school.
Okay.
There's arts and crafts. There's computers, You're not dealing with customers. They're annoying.
All right, Heather.
This one's so easy. I love this question. I would 100% pick my middle school. I would not want to go back to being a middle school aged person, but I loved the actual like place where my middle school was. Mm-hmm. Like it was this beautiful old, I don't know what the actual architectural style was, but it was built in, I think like 1860 or something. It was a very, very old, beautiful, giant building. I like went back to visit it once. I remember at some point, and I was just like, I walked in and I was like, I love this building. I love this place. I miss it. I miss the architecture. I miss all the little creepy hiding places, all the like weird places. There was like a creepy tunnel that they had built. And I know I keep saying creepy a lot, but I'm saying that with love. I'm just like thinking it's
Harry Potter creepy.
Right. Well, and it's like it has that sort of feel to it, this very like old school sort of like some of y'all have done Zooms with me and I've had all these like gothic backgrounds and everyone's been like, what are these backgrounds? I'm like, that's my school. It's that kind of place.
Oh, cool.
So yes, I would love it. It would be so much fun. I would easily live there. And it did used to have dormitories in it, so it wouldn't even be difficult.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am very much on the opposite side. Taving in chat mentioned also that she would go to her middle school because she had a fancy arts middle school. And so like it makes sense that like
school and a bunch of trailers. Ooh, that's interesting.
Right. I get that. My middle school was none of the things that you guys are referring to. It was just like a boring old school building. And I will do anything in my power to avoid middle schoolers. Middle schoolers they're having a tough time. I will give them that. It is not their fault, but I will do anything. I would much rather live in an Arby's. I feel like there's food right there. It's different stories. You can just hang out with people who come in and be like, hey, where are you going? Where are you headed to? Arby's people I might talk to. Middle schoolers, I would not I would not want to talk to ever. Yeah.
Arby's people.
Yeah, I'll talk to Arby's people, but I am not talking to middle schoolers ever. So even though it's such a bigger building, and yes, it has art supplies, and yes, it has
and they're our future.
Yeah, but they're not molded yet to be people that I want to think about being our future. It's just
scares you.
Yeah, it's just a bad scene at this point. So yeah, I'm Arby's all day every day compared to middle schoolers.
Wow. All right.
But, I mean, enjoy. I mean, if you got fancy fine schools, and it's I mean, I like the idea of like, hey, at night I could like go to the play basketball in the gym or whatever, but also at night I can make curly fries, and it'll be a good time. So
yeah, I definitely would. I mean, if it meant my middle school from home, yeah, I would love to move back for a year and live in the middle school. It'd be fun. My sister works in the middle school, so it'd be.
Oh yeah, it's even better. Yeah,
it'd be like home. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that was our last question, guys, which means we're just about to the end of our show. It's been super fun, though. Slaney, thank you so much for
super
being part of it.
Super important.
Yeah. I keep messing with the graphics. Slaney, where can people find out more about what you got going on?
Oh yeah, so you can follow me at Slaney Rose on Instagram. I do have a private account, so if I don't know you, I might not let you in. But I do run Old School Sketch Show. I'm a producer on Old School Sketch Show, so at Old School Sketch Show and at Art Smackdown on Instagram. I'll tell you real quick, Old School Sketch Shows, it's been running for almost 10 years now in New York City, one of the longest running sketch shows. And it's pitched to stage in 7 days, really fun process that takes Second City and SNL and kind of puts them together, improv to sketch in a 7-day process. And then we do Art Smackdown on Twitch every Monday night. Not this Monday night, at 9 p.m. though, on Twitch at Art Smackdown. And coming up, I'm going to be an improviser at Young Ethel's bar prov experiment on Something Goblin in the 8 p.m. hour. I'm also performing on house teams at Magnet, their sketch house teams, Team Rococo. We have a show May 29th at 9 p.m. And and I have a show coming up at Young Ethel's called Public Victories, where I'll be sharing a victory of mine from my past, and it's on Mother's Day at Young Ethel's, so check that out.
Cool. And Heather, what do you got going on?
This coming Sunday, May 7th, my musical improv team, Red Shirts, is performing at the Last Place on Earth. There's a comic book store in Greenpoint. It is free to attend. They just ask that you buy an item like a coffee or a little pastry or something. It should be fun. I think it should be I'm really selling it. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. It should be fun. I'm excited to see how we do a performance in a comic book store. And I think that's what we're made for. And you can follow the Red Shirts Musical Improv on the Instagrams. I am like Slaney, where I don't bother with any public Instagram because I also am private. And I'm always just like, I don't know who you are. No.
Yeah.
I'm always like, no.
Okay, yeah.
But if you come to one of my shows and I meet you in person, I will definitely let you follow me on Instagram.
Slaney followed me recently, and I was like, I know you. Yes.
You were hard to find. You were kind of hard to find.
Yeah. So what you do is follow me at DDATO, and then tell me to tell Slaney and Heather that you're good, that you're cool.
We know you. Right.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah. I will definitely take recommendations for sure.
Yeah. You can also follow us on Instagram at Super Important Stuff. I have a show coming up. I didn't make a graphic for it because I didn't have enough space to, because I was making other graphics. But I have a show coming up at QED on May 21st, a storytelling show on a show called New Tricks, where it's storytellers over the age of 40 telling stories, because it's a game for young people, but they're relevant. Which brings us to the end of our show, guys. Thanks so much, Wendy, for joining us. Thank you to the folks in chat for participating. Thank you to Topping for getting all the questions right.
I know.
Yeah,
so
and
good.
we will see you guys next week. Bye.